Hey guys, thanks for watching. I'm your host, Monica Ortega, and this is Millie. And we have come to the Devil's Punch Bowl to do a very special episode and something that's a little bit different. I have wanted to do this for a very long time and have gone back and forth on it, and I do feel like it's time to share a little bit and let you guys in on my journey and where I want to go from here. I started Monica Goes back in December of 2014 for a few different reasons. At the time I was a live host, so I was doing things like music concerts and festivals and talent shows and stuff like that, and I wanted to find a way to transition that into on-camera hosting. I wanted to create a show that inspired people to break out of their comfort zones and go on adventures and maybe do something that scares you. I just feel like there's so many shows out there with adrenaline junkies or experts or going to the other side of the world, and I wanted to show people that, you know what? I'm afraid of everything, and if I can do these things, anybody can. So those were the two main reasons. And then the third, very personal reason that I started the show is that at the time I was in a very negative marriage, and he didn't like adventure or travel. And I thought, you know what, if I'm not going to get this from my relationship, then I need to find a way to get this part of myself, this very necessary part of myself, on my own. So 1 year ago today, we came and shot an episode at the Devil's Punch Bowl. And you can click up here to watch it, and I'll include a link below if you want to see the actual hike. And it's an awesome hike, so I highly recommend it. But yes, so we came and shot that episode. And then the next day, I found out that he had been unfaithful for most of our marriage. And my whole life shifted. Suddenly all of the plans that I had or the future I thought I'd have was no longer an option. And it was scary and sad, obviously, but in a way it was exciting. All of a sudden I had this chance to create the life I wanted and be the kind of person I wanted to be, and I could step back and go, okay, who do I want to be? What do I want to do? What does my life look like in my dream scenario? And then every choice that came along, I got to make a decision to get me closer to that. And it really was kind of the start of something new, whether I asked for it or not. It was completely my favorite quote from Tale of Two Cities, which is, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It's been a crazy year. Let me tell you, I gained so much more than I lost. I mean, all of a sudden I could move into this amazing apartment in my favorite neighborhood, and I got Millie, who's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. I made new friends, I got closer to my old friends and my family. The biggest thing that has changed my life, hands down, is that I grew stronger in a faith that I didn't even know I had or that existed. And I mean, there's no words for that when you have that in your life. And I will forever be grateful that I've gone through this for that alone. So why do I share all of this? I mean, obviously this is a very personal journey, but I did feel like it was important to share because there's something about sharing the story with other people that I think connects us just a little bit so that we don't feel so alone, and we realize everybody's got stuff and everybody's going through something, and you just don't know until you share it. I think there's so much value in taking the lessons and letting other people in on those so that they're not just for yourself and then you shove it away and pretend it didn't happen. And I don't want this to be for nothing. I didn't want to come out of this being the same person or trying to get back to who I was before. I liked that person, but I want to be better than that. And just telling people what you've been through, maybe somebody's been through the same thing or just needs to feel like it's another human that they're talking to. And I don't want to be ashamed of anything I've ever gone through because I think I've learned so much from it. And if something good can come out of it, then it's worth it in my mind. I felt very strongly about putting that out there. Regardless of what you go through, very rarely does your life end up looking the way you thought it would. And when you get to that point where everything blows up, it's scary and it's sad, but it can also be such a blessing. It can be so exciting, and you can make really good things come out of really hard times. And you go through this hard stuff and you have two options. You can either let it bring you down and change you for the worse, or you take the lessons and you see it as a fresh start and you turn it into something great. I've never been more authentically myself. I feel like I am 100% me, and for the first time in my life, I really like it. Like, I like who I'm becoming, and I'm not ashamed of that or feel like that's weird. I want everybody to feel that way, and I think to do that you have to embrace your story and you have to embrace where you've been. And then obviously I am so passionate about people doing things they're afraid of and pushing out of their comfort zones, and I've been saying it for a long time, and now you know why. You know what I mean? I'm not just a person saying like, hey, go on these adventures and push out of your comfort zones, it's really worth it, I promise. I'm living it. And this is scary for me to put myself out there like this, but doing the things that scare me has changed my life 100%, because I've never been more present than in those moments where I'm facing a fear. And I've spent years being numb and being sad or sleepwalking through, and that is worse than anything that you can face. Because this last year I felt every emotion, high, low, in between. You name it, I felt it. But I was present. I mean, for 365 days, I have been fully present in my life. And that in itself is incredible. And a big reason for that is facing my fears. And that's why it's so important to me. That's why I'm so passionate about wanting other people to do that. And it doesn't have to be something crazy. It can be going to a restaurant by yourself if you've never done that. It can be putting your story out there for people in a way that's terrifying and vulnerable, like this is for me. One thing I discovered looking through all of my episodes is that I'm afraid of most things, whether it's like a weird duck or strange food or a crazy adventure. I usually end up like screaming and crying in my episodes. So in the spirit of facing your fears, from here on out, I want every episode, I want to do something that scares me and really encourage people to do the same thing and just live that life. Part of that was coming back here to the Devil's Punch Bowl. I didn't want anything to be off limits. I didn't want to not be able to listen to a song or not go to a place or not celebrate a day because it has some sort of memory to it. Yes, the memories are always going to be there, but avoiding it, to me, is giving too much power to that person and that situation, and I didn't want to do that. So, like, one thing I've done this year is really reclaim those places and those songs and those memories and change it. Go back with a friend. Listen to the song in a happy situation. Like, take the power back for myself and fall back in love with those things. It's really empowering, and it makes me feel like that's not going to break me. There doesn't have to be any part of myself that I have to shove away because it's just too sad or too scary. And so I'm back at the Devil's Punch Bowl to go on this hike, to turn the camera off, to be present with my favorite adventure buddy here. And another thing that I've been doing is, for the past couple of months, I've been doing like a no drinking thing, because it's very easy for me when I feel emotional to just be like, oh, I'll just have a glass of wine and shove that aside. You know, I really wanted to feel the emotions of everything and just ride it out. And let me tell you, it has taken me to some weird places, but it's been really good. So now, moving forward, I'm ready to celebrate. So cheers. And now I'm gonna turn off the camera and I'm gonna go hike with my adventure buddy here and celebrate this new start. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was a bit of a different episode. I'm going to go back to normal adventure travel episodes, I promise. So check those out, and if you like it, hit subscribe and feel free to leave me a comment, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Come on, Millie, let's go hike. See you guys. Oh my gosh, these mosquitoes are nuts. Note to self, if you come to Devil's Punch Bowl, bring bug spray. I have a foot cramp and it hurts. There's a giant lizard. Oh gosh, I know. So hard. So hard. She's over it.